Hello, I'm Alison Smith and I'm author of Can't See the Wood for the Trees, Landscaping Your Life to Get Back on Track, and it's its third birthday this weekend for publication in America. Came out in the UK in September 2018, and I thought I'd read you some of the chapter while I'm here in Duik Botanical Gardens with this beautiful Douglas fir tree behind me, that I'd read you an extract from the book. And the book is a self-help book. It's a dip in when you're struggling. So it's, unless you're a coach, really helpful. A number of coaches are finding it helpful because there's loads of different coaching tools in it. But if you're stuck, then you wouldn't necessarily read it when you're not stuck. You'd read it at times when you need a different perspective. You'd go, oh, what am I feeling like? And you'd go, oh, making mountains out of molehills. Might I need to read that chapter? Or what about stuck in a rut? Can't see the wood for the trees, up the creek without a paddle, like a fish out of water, head in the sand, out on a limb, in at the deep end, treading water, going round in circles, missed the tide, and then there's one that's the sort of the antidote to all of those, which is going with the flow. But the idea would be that you pick the chapter that resonates most with how you're feeling, read the chapter, and there's normally 3 or 4 different things you might want to try doing that don't involve logic, that are much more unconventional and involve things that have become, since publishing the book, the Landscape Toolkit. And so I thought I'd read you a chapter as its birthday. So this is the Can't See the Wood. This is chapter 7, Can't See the Wood for the Trees. And each chapter starts with a story of how I've used the saying with a client. Or clients. So some of them are suit-wearing executive teams out in woods. Some of them are individuals on the phone, which is where this starts. Jen rang me one day in a panic. I just don't know what to do. It's all got too much for me, she said. Over the years, Jen has been introduced to many of the unconventional tools I use in coaching. This call was prompted by a feeling of escalating panic and an inner knowing that the calm she craves is often on the other side of using one of these tools. The problem is, I need to feel better now. I don't have time for lots of thinking, pondering or soul searching. Please help. At the time I was writing the contents page of the book, I asked her to listen as I read out all the chapter headings and let me know which one best reflected how she was feeling. Can't see the wood for the trees, definitely, she replied. For the next few minutes, I asked her to describe the wood and trees she was imagining. As with any metaphorical explanation, some questions make more sense than others. When I asked her how many trees there were, she replied, "It's like a forest. There's loads of them." The phrase isn't "can't see the forest for the trees," I said, a little surprised to find myself saying. What happens if you make the forest into a wood? I asked next. Oh. The trees change into beech trees, she replied, and then continued, "Oh my God, that's brilliant. I know what I've got to do. Mustache, thanks," and hung up the phone. Even I was surprised at the speed of the shift in perspective and the abrupt way the call came to an end. If I think about it for a moment, though, I shouldn't have been surprised. Jen was heading for a deadline, and if she'd known what to do, she would not have had time to call me. She'd have just been getting on with what she knew she needed to be doing. Being stuck meant she wasn't engaged with any activity, just wrapped up in a sense of stuckness. So she was certainly seeing the problem as an unclimbable huge mountain towering above her. If I'd asked Jen about the problem, there's every chance she'd have spiralled down into describing the problem even more, with the potential of getting even more stuck. By using the metaphor, we were able to give Jen a moment's break from the real-life situation, a break in which her subconscious was able to offer a suggestion that in that metaphor meant changing the type of tree being envisaged. That shift in perspective allowed a door to be opened in her mind, and it was a door to a solution for her problem. Obviously, once the solution came to mind and her sense of stuckness was released, the deadline took over as she realised what she needed to do to meet it. Jen and I still laugh at the brevity of that call, which must have been no more than 5 minutes, and the abruptness of its ending. I still don't know why the type of tree made the difference, nor what changing it allowed her to understand. I just trust that it worked for her and knew what she had to do, when 5 minutes earlier she didn't. And what the rest of the chapter then goes on to do is to share different ways, when you can't see the wood for the trees, of using your unconscious, really. It's not your logical mind. Your logical mind is being asked to go on a coffee break while you explore it metaphorically. So, wishing Can't See the Wood, or happy 3rd birthday from Can't See the Wood for the Trees.